G'day trendsetters, how you going? It's time, I think, to repot the Dwarf Mulberry. But before I do that, I just wanted to, I think it's also a good time to take cuttings. We're in, this is nearly the end of the second month, so there's about a month of summer left. And this, I'll bring the camera in closer in a minute and I'll show you, but this new growth here, this is the old growth from when I potted up before. This is all new growth that has been grown since I put it in this pot. And it's starting to colour, so it's not a fresh green anymore, it's starting to grey a little bit. And this is when I think it's a good time. It's still bendy and flexible without snapping, so that's a good time to take cutting. So and also I want to prune it down anyhow for when I do pot it up into the bigger pot. Mainly so as to encourage more branching. More branching theoretically should mean more fruit. So I want to prune it at the same time. So I figured I might as well take the cuttings. Nothing to lose because I've already pruned it. And there's one, I'll get 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 cuttings out of that. But I'll show you how I go about that. Well, yeah, and I just want to repot it in a pot a size bigger. It has grown rather well. The roots are all around. I don't know if you can see that. The roots have grown right out to the edge of the pot. It's not totally root bound, but I still think that's a good time to repot. And that'll sit there from now until probably the end of winter. Maybe if I'm lucky I'll get some fruit, and then after it's fruited I'll pot it up again another size until I eventually get to the size I want. But anyhow, I'll bring the camera in and I'll show you this wood here I'm talking about that I'm going to use for cuttings. I've got my secateurs. I've got here, if you can see about here, this is where what we call old wood. This is the new growth that I've had since I've potted. And you can see, I hope you can see, it's starting to turn just a little bit grey. And I'll take my cutting, I don't want the tip, so I'll take those 2 inches off, and I'm after about a 4 to 6 inch cutting. So that's, I'll cut below a node, which is here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 node cut, and the 2 or 2.5 nodes will go into the pot, and the few left will stick above. But I'll bring the camera in and we'll do that up nice and close. Right, I better fill up. I like using these terracotta pots for cuttings. I just feel that they drain better and reduce the likelihood of the cutting rotting in a wet potting mix. I just use a normal potting mix. I don't, sometimes I'll add a bit of sand, but I think these guys will be alright just with normal potting mix. So I'll fill that to the top. Okay. I've got a little dibbler. Right, so I'll take my cutting by cutting just below node. So I don't know how good I can get this. So there's your node. That leaf will have to come off. 1, 2. There's 1, 2. There's my third node. I might go 5. I'll probably get 2 cuttings out of this. I'll take that off. I'll reduce this leaf by half and we'll dibble it. Oh, sorry. I've got my Clonex, purple Clonex. This is rooting hormone. It's the gel. I prefer the gel because I think it coats the bottom of the cutting a lot better. That's just to aid the development of roots. Now I want to bury this almost to the top of that third node. Yep. Perfect. And I'll get the second one. What happens if I take that one. Yeah. I'll take that big leaf off. I might get, I don't know, I'll see how that goes. I'm not super confident in that one, but well, nothing to lose. Same again, right down into the potting mix. So that's one done. So that whole branch there is new growth. I don't want to cut it right down. I just want to cut it above where the last lot of old growth was. So I'll take this one off, and again, knock those leaves off. Be careful not to damage the buds, because that'll let the plant know which way is up and what it's doing. I'll take that leaf right off. Reduce this leaf by half again, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. I'll just run around. I don't think I'll get another one out of that. I might. I'll try. Like I said, you got nothing to lose. If you've got any questions about taking cuttings, feel free to add them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think, or if you've got another way of doing it that I'm not aware of, that you've had success with. But mulberries should be fairly easy. They're fairly keen to grow. Now, just bear with me, I'll get these last two in. So that's the old, what I call old wood, or was referred to as old wood, last year's growth, and this is the new growth from this summer that's hardened a bit. So I'll go just above that, cut below the node, trim those leaves off. And the only reason I'm cutting that leaf in half is just to reduce the amount of transpiration out of the cutting, because we have decapitated the poor thing and it doesn't have a root system to help it survive. So if we reduce the transpiration, we should reduce the stress on the cuttings. Now, I'll just give those a water, and place them over here in a fairly shady, under the shade of a big old tree here. I'll just place these guys under a shady part of the garden. It might get a little bit of morning sun, but not much, and they should be right there. I would expect some sort of root formation in 4 to 6 weeks. So if I get a good strike, we'll come back and I'll show you when I knock them out of the pots and pot them up. Fingers crossed. Let's see how we go. Okay, so part 2 is simply potting up into a size bigger pot. I wanted to mention this guy. It's a Bergen and Ball compost trowel. I'll probably do a video all on it. I just bought it on a whim from a place down in Tenterfield when we go and visit down there, and I just wanted to buy something, help a little store out, because it's such a fancy little store. But since I got it home, I found it extremely useful, which I'll show you in the video. But it's just a compost scoop, and it's great for getting potting mix out of a bag, or even compost out of your compost. So I just need a little bit in the bottom. I'll lift this bloke up. About 20-25 centimetres from the top of this pot. That's all there is to it. Fill in around the sides. Just poke your fingers around the outside there, make sure that potting mix is fairly firm. We don't want to ram it in, just firm. And try and keep it at the same level of the original height of the pot that it was in. That's it. Give it a good water. Job done. There you go. Alright, I hope you found that interesting. It was a little bit all over the place. I was trying to concentrate on what I was doing, and I'm the sole camera operator here, so things get a bit messy. I'll try and fix it up in the edit. But if you found this in any way interesting or useful, I'd love it if you subscribed. Hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe to get notified when I do put up another video. If you've got any questions or comments, if there's anything you'd like to know that you'd like me to make a video about, feel free to leave a comment in the video. I'd be only too happy if it's within my skill set, if you like. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you on the next video. Cheers and thanks for watching.